Welcome to the calm after the storm, or hopefully between the storm. It's coming down like thunder, lightning, and downpour just a few minutes ago.
It was almost a little like Colorado getting all of that snow. Wait, wasn't there 4 foot of snow at your friend's place? Yeah, 4 foot, and then Castle Rock had 21 inches. We saw,
Yeah. My mom lives in Indiana. She said they were scary storms, and I don't think they lost power or anything, but yeah, they said they had pretty bad storms. And although we were supposed to have it pretty bad yesterday, and we didn't. And today it was like, yeah, wow. So I don't know, is it supposed to keep going, or is tomorrow?
No, tomorrow's supposed to be fine, and supposed to be done by 6.
Oh,
so
wow. Yeah, so hope you didn't get big bad storms like we had. I guess it wasn't so bad.
Really
I mean, they said it could have been worse. There were tornadoes and, thunderstorms and hail and fire and brimstone and lions and tigers and bears. It's supposed to be really bad, but it wasn't that bad here. It's just like a big storm. But, yeah, I don't know. More severe weather as the climate changes and the weather changes, and the world is headed for destruction and doom, according to Revelation in our Sabbath school.
Yeah. You made it sound like something it's not.
Yes, well, anyway, Aspen and I watched a documentary yesterday about the end of the world as we know it with nature. It was actually really good. It was David Attenborough's thing, and it was his big picture of, it's easy for us to get, kind of small picture, small view of life around us and everything, but when you take big picture views of how the planet works and how ecosystems work and how different species, live together and interact, and it makes a lot of sense. Like, it's kind of our responsibility to take care of things, and we haven't been doing a great job of that. And a lot of times out of ignorance, sometimes not, but a lot of times it's just, they didn't know. Like he talks about when he first started out, he thought, oh, it's all the wild, he said even then things were changing, but they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, kind of interesting to get a globalist perspective of life and being a good citizen of the world, not just your neighborhood. All right, thanks for joining us.
Now, was that really the best transition, Brett?
No, that wasn't a very good transition. I was like, no. But anyway, let's see, in better transition. Well, it smells good in our kitchen today. It smells great. I'm not sure I would enjoy what's making the smell, but it does smell good. Apparently Aspen has picked up her culinary arts curiosity and started trying to plan and make things again.
Yeah. So she stayed for, what is that, third service today. Third service at church today, and so we came home and had our lunch, and then she came home, and so she didn't want any leftovers that Brett had.
What's wrong with my leftovers?
Your noodles are bad.
My noodles are wonderful. I have great noodles.
They make it taste different.
What? My noodles are good. The box there, it comes out of the box of things you like.
Yeah, but they're not the shells.
They're not. Oh.
They have to be the shells.
She likes the shells. I like the little straight, whatever they're called, American noodles. I like them American. That's how I like them. She likes those wicky wacky Italian things, and I want American noodles.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
we're in Texas. Remember that.
Yeah.
3 for that one, didn't I? Aspen made something today.
Yes, she did. Uh-huh. She actually did a lot of cooking during the pandemic and stuff, but we're kind of moved past that now, and she enjoys mom's home cooking most of the time. But yeah, so she decided to make something new today. I don't even remember. I'm not sure I can even say it right.
I'm looking at the things.
It's a Greek thing.
Yeah, it was a Greek bread of some sort.
It's a pie, technically.
Oh, technically a pie, but I don't know. It was more of a egg, flour, bread, no yeast or baking soda or anything like that to make it rise. I guess the eggs actually made it rise. And then she put in some green olives, and it called for cottage cheese, and it looked pretty tasty, and she really enjoyed it. In fact, she liked it so much that we went ahead and saved the recipe into our cookbook of recipes that we want to go back and make again. And so...
We have one of those?
Yes, we do.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything in there for me, or is it
Yes.
just all cottage cheese and green olives?
So yes, there is. There's
Oh.
some of your recipes are in
Some
there.
of my recipes?
Yeah, actually, remember that one thing I made that tasted like, it was supposed to be something else, but it tasted like cornbread,
Mhm.
and it didn't even have corn flour in it. Remember
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we should make that again now
Yeah,
that
that
I
was
saw it. Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. And it was a low carb bread.
low-carb
so,
bread.
Yeah. So, anyways, she made that, and like I said, it made it into the recipe book so that we can have it for later. It wasn't just one of those that try it and then it just kind of like goes into the past and you're just never mind.
We've had a few of those.
Yeah, a handful of those, right? Yeah. So
Low carb yellow cake.
Oh yeah, I'll have to admit that was not a good idea.
That one didn't go so well.
You know, they make it sound and look so good. It even has great reviews, tons of great reviews, but it tastes horrible, and
Yeah,
Brett doesn't like
Not
it at
good.
all.
It was ugh.
Yeah. So, anyways, it reminded me of the verse 1 John 2:15-17. Do not love the world nor the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the boastful pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world. And then here the last part, the world is passing away, and also its lust, but the one who does the will of God continues to live for forever. Kind of like the recipes that aren't any good, they just pass away, and you hope to never see them again. And the good recipes make it into the cookbook that you're going to keep and last for forever, right? Ish.
Okay.
A simple illustration, but you know it's what happens.
Miranda's recipes for eternity. I like that.
Well,
That's good. But no.
apparently I ought to be making my living as a comedian.
We would be great on the road. We should go on the road. Yes. Well, you know what that actually made me think of? Like things pass away, and then, but the lives forever. Is the again, like we were watching that documentary, the world, slowly dying, or slowly being. Basically, the point of it was that man is eating up the resources of the earth, using up the resources of the earth, and when that happens, there's a big reset, and everything dies and starts over. But the whole like close of probation. Did you ever, when you were coming through, talk about the close of probation, like in Academy Bible and stuff?
Goodness, yeah. Heard that. Even growing up when you're a kid, and the adults are sitting around talking on Sabbath afternoon, and you hear a lot of that.
Yeah. And it's all kind of like, when's the close? I mean, like when I was in Academy, that was the big. And here's when the close of
and then
probation.
there's all those timelines, and all
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Always kind of, and it never made sense to me, And then, and this is just revised standard bread. I can't prove this, but it seems though, if God is love and He wants everybody to be in heaven, that the close of probation is, God waits till the absolute last moment, until if He doesn't come, we're just going to destroy ourselves, And that's kind of when you look at the climate and the global warming and what we do to the earth, what we do to each other, and you kind of get that idea is that things keep going. And the point of the documentary was if we just keep doing what we're doing, we're all going to die. And, it made me think maybe that's more like probation, is like we're just headed toward that cliff, and we might do things to try and slow it down. But, eventually we get to that point, and that's when God's like, I have to go. I have to go now. Otherwise, it's all over. And all that passes away, but that loves God is eternity. And that's what you were talking about. Maybe because then your recipe book becomes the book of life, and so that's what it made me think of.
And yummy food to eat, which is
Yes.
life. God's truths are life to us.
Oh, the great banquet. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so it seems as if if whatever we're going to be teaching in Sabbath school next
Ends up
generally ends up here first, right? Because you had an idea, and so you
Yeah.
might as well just keep it going.
Run
Now,
with it, yeah.
I'll have to say that this is just in the beginning stages, so please forgive us, me.
Yeah.
But anyways, here we are. So the next time we teach, we're going to be tackling the first 3 churches in Revelation, and we're just, for some sake of simplicity, we're going to do just the church of Ephesus today. Keep things shorter and such as well. So the thing about the church of Ephesus is that they had good works. God was pleased with their good works. And yet he said, what you're lacking is love. And so what I want you to do is to get back your first love that you had.
Yeah. So background, our Sabbath school is doing this book about Revelation, and they're kind of studying Revelation, and they're doing it at a pretty slow pace. They're kind of, they really got into the verse by verse and doing a few verses and really get in, which is fun for a while. But they've done like the introduction and a little bit of chapter 1, and we haven't quite got to the churches yet. Still doing the background and introduction to Revelation. But Miranda's chapter coming up, because she's the one that teaches. It's supposed to be every 4th Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every 4th Sabbath. And so they kind of, did the chapters of the book, and yours is the first. There's just before her, there's the general induction of the churches, but then you get the first 3 churches from, the book of Revelation. Ephesus, Mephisus, and Nephesus.
It's Pergamum and Smyrna.
Ephesus, Pergamum, and Smyrna,
Okay,
the beach,
yes, thank you.
which is a beach in Florida, but not in Revelation.
It's too bad Smyrna should be a beach
Smyrna
everywhere.
Beach everywhere, yeah.
Yes.
And so you're going to do those
Yes.
3, but you're just talking about Ephesus today.
Right,
The
just
church
about
in
Ephesus,
Ephesus.
Yes, keep it simple.
Yes.
And so why was love so important? Because
Did you read what God said to them, the first part?
What's that?
What it's the message to Ephesus?
Oh, no, I didn't actually read that
Oh.
here. No.
Well, the good people online might not know it.
No, I don't have it written down.
Oh, so, to the first church, they all, they're always like, John starts with, this is good about you, but this is what I have against you.
Mm-hmm.
And, John talks to Ephesus, and it's like, oh, your good works and the positive part. But the thing he has against him is that you have lost your first love. And so it's a contrast of you're doing works now, but you need to get back to the first love, the love that began, your church and began your good work, began your journey. You've lost that first love.
Mm-hmm. So why is love so important?
Right. Why is that?
Yeah, basically I'm going to counter that with another question, which would be, why did Abraham offer his son Isaac as a sacrifice?
So now we're going back to the Old Testament. See, I'm here for background.
Yes, it's a good thing because I just kind of cut and scrunched.
Cut and crunch.
And yes.
So now you go back to Abraham and his life and, the chosen son and all the failures Abraham had. In the end, Isaac is born, and God says to Abraham, take Isaac up to a mountain and sacrifice your son unto me. And this is, towards the end of Abraham's life. And, so he takes him up to the mountain, and, the story that, he helps, Isaac even helps, build the altar, and then where's the sacrifice? God will provide. And, in the end, ram is in the bushes just before, Abraham sacrifices Isaac. The angel stops him and says, wait. And then there's the ram. They sacrifice the ram, and there you go.
Mm-hmm. Right, yes. So I'm going to say that Abraham would not have been able to do that sacrifice, or, move towards taking Isaac up to the mountain, tying him up, raising the knife and such. So I'm going to say that he would not have been able to do that outside of his love for God, right? A God who loved him simply because he existed and not for any good works that he did. So Abraham, even though there were the times in his life, of course, that he wasn't living by faith like God would have wanted him to, God didn't just cut him off, didn't quit doing good things for him. God did plenty of good things for Abraham. If you read that story of Abraham, it's all about what God has done for him, the good things that God did for him.
And I would say it was a lifetime of learning to know God and love God. And that,
Right.
there's so many things that Abraham didn't act in faith on,
Right.
that he had learned from over his lifetime, that by the time it was, here, sacrifice your son Isaac to me, Abraham had learned so much about, when he doesn't do what God asked, and how God had, even though he had failed, and, brought him back around to these same challenges, and brought him back around and took care of him, and da-da-da. At this point, it was, the love and faith Abraham had was, I don't know how God's going to do this, but if this is what he says, I know from my life experience, he's going to take care of it, whatever
Right.
it is.
Right. And so basically, Abraham lost nothing when he went to sacrifice his son. In fact, he gained.
Yeah.
Even from this experience, right? With God, we do not sacrifice and end up with less. We sacrifice and we end up with more. And so I can't imagine the new depth of relationship that Abraham had with God after that experience. And even with his son, it must have taken that to a whole new level.
Yeah. And Isaac would have had to have great faith and love for his father and God to go along with it.
Right. And that would have increased his faith. And, God just always wants to open our eyes to new depths of who he is. So our deepest sacrifices to God will not be made without his true love. Without the love of God, any sacrificing that we will be doing is a sacrifice to self and to ego. And because he could have said, oh, I don't want to live without my son. And that would have been sacrificing to self rather than go ahead and do what God asked him to do, even though it was no doubt incredibly hard for that to happen. So Matthew 6:33, so we wonder, how do we love God, right? How can that happen? So Matthew 6:33 is actually the ultimate how-to live out our love for God. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Of course, all these things being what you will eat, what you will drink, and what you will wear. And a continuation of that is that verse that the verses that we just started with. So we wonder really, how do we love God? Why is it that sometimes it seems as though I do good things, and yet where is my actual love for God in that? So let's read that again. Do not love the world nor the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. And that, I remember when I first read that and first made that connection, I thought, oh, wow, that's kind of a tough one, because we are born loving the world and the things in the world and seeking after what to eat, what to drink, and what to wear. That's just a normal, everyday living thing. And that's sacrificing to self if we get, Yes, why are you questioning what I say?
I would never question what you say. Never. It doesn't even enter my mind to question what you say. But I am curious.
I see you thinking, yes.
Well, I can't love shopping at the Gap. I can't love shopping at, getting nice clothes. I can't love these things.
Okay, but God said don't worry about those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I can love them.
What does the Bible say?
Well, you just read it. So don't love it.
Don't love it.
What does
yeah.
that mean?
It means you're more willing to sacrifice for them than you would be to sacrifice them and give it up in order to love God first.
Oh, so you're saying it's okay to love those things, but it's actually a matter of what's your highest priority, loving God and others or loving things. So don't put things above God and others.
Right. Yeah.
See, I'm here for clarification as well.
Okay. So for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the boastful pride of life, it is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world is passing away and also its lust, but the one who does the will of God continues to live for forever. So that just goes really hand in hand with the seek ye first the kingdom of God. Now the kingdom of God, who is God? God is love, so therefore his kingdom is also love. And so we're to seek God and his love first, and then all those other things, all the things of the world and such, those are not what we're to focus most of our time and thoughts and energy and most of our life on. So we're to seek first God, the sacrifices that we make to him, rather than any sacrifices that we're making to self and to ego, which can happen when we are busy seeking the things of this world. And so this is where the world is passing away, and also its lust. Those are the things that don't last. They're the recipes that shouldn't be making it into the book, because shouldn't be making it into the recipe book. But the things of God, of seeking God first and loving God first, those go into the book of that lasts.
So the foods of love are like candy and ice cream and cake, and the things that pass away are cottage cheese and green olives and vegetables.
Yeah, it depends on how you would like to look at that. If cottage cheese, green vegetables, and whatever.
Do not love the things of this world, and those are things of the world. Cottage cheese. Okay. Sorry.
Basically, there's no sacrifice that we can make to God that we will not benefit from. And there's no sacrifice so big that we will come out of it with less rather than more.
Oh. That's true. That's a good thought. What else you got?
That's it.
Go ahead. Come on. What else you got? What else did you write about?
You know what? That is a really
What more do we have?
That is a really big topic. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's something that can be really hard to do. But it's the way to love God. And he does love us. No doubt about that.
See, now we get to see, what does Miranda do when she doesn't have any notes?
I ran out of notes. Done ran out of them.
Here we are.
Can't say anything.
Now what's Miranda going to do?
We're
no
done.
notes from Miranda.
What? I made my point.
You made your point.
I made my point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we are with no notes. So.
No more points to make.
No more points to make.
We wrapped it up.
What?
Yes.
I don't know. It seems too early to stop.
Oh no. How long has it been, Aspen?
22 minutes.
22 minutes
is perfect. Don't you guys agree? Oh, I'm not pointing my finger at you in case that was on.
You were pointing at the people. I can't believe
people.
it. Don't you?
So I think 22 minutes is a really good time frame.
Oh, I was going to ask you about the thing in Sabbath school, like what you really thought about that. The whole in Sabbath school, we're doing Revelation, and it was the thing where in the first chapter of Revelation, and it says, and behold, he will come in the sky, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and there will be great mourning, And it got off in Sabbath school today where we were talking about mourning and what does that mean?
What was that mourning? Yeah, I got to thinking about it. I didn't add that thought because everybody, well, not just everybody, but there was any number of theories basically of what that mourning was. But I got to thinking maybe, they say we're all created, of course, with that God-sized hole in our hearts. And rather than feel that pain, we fill it up with stuff, which we were just talking about now, the things of this earth, right? And yet, now it has obviously come to an end. It's come to an end. And those who have filled themselves up with stuff, that's something that constantly needs to be done over and over and over again, constantly filling up with stuff. Otherwise, you start to feel the pain of lack of stuff, basically. So I thought maybe they don't have God, obviously, in that God-sized hole. They also don't have stuff anymore. The stuff isn't even going to be available to them. They have come to the end. And I wonder if that mourning is just the depth of pain of that emptiness, a heart empty of God, which they were able to avoid that because they were stuffing their hearts full of stuff. Things. What?
I like that. They were stuffing their hearts full of stuff
You know, and it
from
doesn't.
Stuff Mart.
It doesn't have to be stuff from
But
Stuff
how come
Mart,
you didn't
but-
say that? That was good. That's a good point. Because in Sabbath school, there was, at that point, because it's talking about every eye, so that even those who pierced him, talking about, who crucified Jesus, and that they'll be convicted and mourn that they'll have repentance. And then somebody else in Sabbath school said, no, it won't be repentance because they would not have been repentant and they don't want to be repentant. And that they might say, well, yeah, okay, so you are God, but I still don't want anything to do with you. And now you're saying even a third aspect that they well, mine was sort of what you're saying. I was saying that, the lies of, that people tell themselves so they don't have to deal with the truth about themselves. And that gets all swept away.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And there's conviction about my own choices and actions, and there's no more way for me to cover it up. I have to deal with what I have chosen.
Yeah, it's like any addiction. Like, it doesn't have to be the new shoes every week or whatever.
Yeah.
The stuff that we would see, but working more, working harder, doing more in order to cover all that up.
But it was a good point that in Sabbath school they were like, and so even those who pierced him will see him and they will mourn. And it was later we were talking about, and there was a point at that, well, yeah, but the centurion and those around him did at the time of the crucifixion have conviction, for they said, wow, this really was the Son of God, and they were and then knelt there at the cross. And so it can lead to the idea that they had conviction and conversion at the moment in crucifixion, where you kind of always read that verse and think, yeah, well, they'll see what they did, and that's not really what it's talking about. But that everybody is going to have the moment of conviction. All lives will be swept away.
Right. They will know that this is God and that he exists if they chose to believe he didn't. And,
yeah. So I thought that was interesting. And so, something in Sabbath school came out today. And then next week is more about John being on the island of Patmos. And then you.
And then me.
With Ephesus.
And
Pergamum. And Smyrna Beach.
Yes. It'll be fun.
It could be fun. We'll see how far they get next week. They've been doing like 4 verses a week. That's just going to be painfully slow to get through Revelation. But yeah. Anyway, so. All right. Well, there you go. That was us with just a little bit today. And I think, that's just about right. So what's next week? Probably more of the same.
More of the same. I read last week's. It didn't have anything to do with this.
No. I mean, and then, so what we're talking about in Sabbath school will be probably talking about
maybe,
here.
since I will have to be spending more time on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not the Revelation expert. Brett is-ish.
She knows more. Miranda does more of the big picture stuff. Like, when they were talking about teaching Revelation in Sabbath school, I was like, really? Because, I can teach it, but that's not really a Sabbath school. It's more discussion and stuff. But for me to Revelation, it's like, all right, well, I've got to get you into the, study of it and symbolism and apocalyptic literature and da-da-da. And then we'll see how they like it. So far, they've been doing these verse by verses, but Miranda is more a big picture, see Jesus in this and the practical application for us today. Not in the original Greek and Hebrew. This meant.
Yes. Yes, and I think that is great to study that out. That really is, and it helps your own personal understanding and things like that. But I want to. It's all about our relationship with Jesus in the end.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just knowledge. So, all right. Well, anyway, hope you had a great Sabbath and a good week, and. Enjoy the rest of it. I hope storms aren't on their way to you. I think we're supposed to have a fairly calm week coming up, and I don't know. We don't have anything big planned. We were going to go see the bluebell bonnet bing bop boom.
Yeah.
What are they called?
Bluebonnets.
Bluebonnets.
Yes. While they are starting early, they aren't really in big enough bloom to go. They aren't picture worthy yet, according to the news.
Yeah.
So And then it rained all week anyways,
Yeah.
mostly.
So we want to get back out and do salt on the road somewhere once we can get on the road. But anyway, next week we'll be here again and talking about probably more Revelation stuff. So hope you have a great week.